everyone, and welcome to my bar. My name is Ansel Birch, the Indecisionist, and I will be your Dungeon Barkeep today. Now, I am no expert mixologist. Heck, I am making cocktails in a cave, but I have an adventurous spirit and a willingness to try anything once, and that includes a brand new cocktail chosen only using the roll of some gaming dice and a list of everything I've got on hand. So what do you say? I will try it first before I ever recommend it to you, and I'll even tell you where it can fit into your own gaming situations. Does that sound like a plan? Excellent. Then let's get started. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is roll a d4 for some essentials. So let's go ahead and roll a d4 over here. That is a 1. So we're gonna put a liqueur or creme into this one. So that's exciting. So next up is a garnish with a d6. All right, that is a 5. So I'm gonna be sugaring the rim of today's cocktail. I'm thrilled about that. And next up is that liqueur or creme. We're gonna roll a d8 for that one. That's an 8. So we're actually going to flip over to the mixers chart instead. Ooh, drama. All right, so instead of a liqueur or cream, we are going to put in some Saucy Wench Bloody Mary mix. Okay, sugared rim and Bloody Mary mix. Already the dice giveth and the dice taketh away. But I'm sure it'll be entertaining, so what's the worst that could happen? We'll find out. Next, we need to figure out what kind of liquor is going to be the star of this show. So I'm going to roll a d10 on the liquors chart. That is another 7 for brandy. So brandy, Bloody Mary mix, and a sugared rim. I don't know how I am possibly going to balance this. This is going to be an experience, but to prove to you that I do have a chance, I do want to give myself a little pop quiz. We'll roll a d12 on the bar terms chart. All right, that's an 8. Free pour. Free pour means that we are going to not measure. Most of the time, this means that your bartender feels comfortable enough with the amount of experience they have tending bar. They know how much goes into each thing, and so they're not going to use a jigger or measuring device as they make their cocktail. And I will make today's cocktail without measuring as well, because why not? So that is what free pour means. If you hear somebody talking about, oh, we free pour here, or I'm going to free pour this, that's what they're talking about. And finally, last roll we need to make before we go ahead and make this cocktail is a name for this thing. Now, if you would like to contribute to the list of names that you see here, each chosen at random from an enormous list of names suggested by people just like you online, well, you too can be one of those people. Over at indecisionist.com/Dungeon Barkeep, you'll find a link to the form where you can put in any suggestions for nerdy cocktail names that you'd like. And eventually they will show up on this randomized form, because that's how randomization works, right? Speaking of randomization, let's go ahead and use our 1 to 20 integer die. Here we go. 15, Imploding Die. All right. I feel as though this may cause an imploding death, so that seems entirely reasonable. The Imploding Die. Brandy, Bloody Mary mix, sugared rim. Deceptively simple, worryingly complex. But let's head on over to the bar top cam and see how it all comes together. All right, we're serving today's cocktail in a rimmed glass, so I've prepared that ahead, and we are ready to make that the canvas for our masterpiece. This cocktail calls for brandy. I'm going to aim for about 2 ounces of brandy. About like that. And Bloody Mary mix is super simple, especially the Bloody Mary mix from Saucy Wench. You can get more of their stuff at saucywenchhotsauce.com. I really appreciate the Bloody Mary mix that they have been providing me with, and their hot sauces and condiments are delicious as well. So we're going to go ahead and just pour that in until it looks right. There we go. Now, the smell off of this is already telling me that we're going to want something else. So I'm going to hit it with a couple d6 of cold damage. And what else can we put in here? The brandy is pretty sweet. It's got like a winey sweetness to it. The Bloody Mary mix has this like savory umami quality to it. This one is also just a little bit on the spicy side, and I do mean a very little bit. So, I mean, we could go more sweet. We could go more bitter, or we could go more like savory, more into that Bloody Mary mix territory. And I feel like that's going to be the most comfortable thing. So I'm going to make an executive decision here and add a little bit of extra hot Mexican hot sauce here. We'll call that a Barspoon. And speaking of Barspoon, all that's left is to give it a stir. And there you have it, the Imploding Die. But how does it taste? Oh, golly. I'm not going to say it's bad, but there is a lot going on in my mouth right now. Wow. Okay, so the sugared rim was a mistake. It doesn't go with anything else that is happening here, and the sugar just like coated my tongue and completely muddled everything coming after it. So if you make this for yourself, that's the first edit to make, is to leave out the sugared rim. The mix of Bloody Mary mix and brandy is actually not as weird as I was expecting it to be. I was expecting the wine aspect of the brandy to clash more with the Bloody Mary mix, and honestly, I think that sort of like, I don't know how to describe it other than redness. That sort of like the fruity, earthy, heavy tones that red wine has that are more present in brandy. They seem to be working all right with the Bloody Mary mix. Is it good? Would I recommend it? No. Is it better than I thought it would be? Yeah, it's better than I thought it would be. This could have been an even bigger gross mistake, but it wasn't. I do think a little bit of that is that the spiciness of the hot sauce is helping. It's sort of, if you imagine a tug of rope between the sweetness of the brandy and the savoriness of the Bloody Mary mix, the hot sauce is sort of helping the Bloody Mary mix while also, I don't know, informing the brandy, I guess is the best way to put that. I mean, no surprise that hot sauce and Bloody Mary mix is a good call. Plenty of people do that on purpose all the time. The only weird thing about this is that we're using brandy, which again, not awful. Like if it's the only thing in your bar and you had to make yourself an Imploding Die, you could do worse. You could do worse, but you could also do much, much better. I mean, there's a reason we use vodka in this. The Bloody Mary mix is already all the way where you want it to be. You're just looking to put alcohol in this, and the complicating factor of brandy is not helping the situation in any way. So that's that. And again, the sugared rim, that's just shouldn't be. No, not allowed. Gross. Oh God. Okay. The sugar, and then the spice is like, ooh, okay. It's very different front to back of mouth experiences. Wow. But where does it fit into an adventure? I think something like this, it has to be an exposure to someone from a different universe, right? Someone who's got a completely different palette. Or actually, no, not a completely different palette, a slightly different palette. This has to tell you that they are from a place that is just different enough to be to be notable, but not so different as to be like alienating. So I wonder if there's an opportunity for this to be from like a different, if you're plane walking and you go to Sigil or another place like that, another like location that is in the middle of plains or on another plane. This is the sort of drink that tells you, yeah, everything seems pretty normal here. Okay, except for this one little thing. Something small is off, and then you look around and discover that, okay, there are lots of other small differences. Maybe it's like you could have fun with the Mandela effect. Everything, the Berenstain Bears are in fact the correct ones here, or this would be much funnier if I could remember any other Mandela effect examples. But you know what I mean. It's the stuff that your adventurers. Oh, you could Mandela affect your adventurers with like rules that they keep messing up. Maybe in this universe, the rules that they keep mistaking are the way they keep remembering them, and then you come back. That might do more harm than good. But I don't know. If you've got the right group, I could see that being fun. Golly. Yeah, it's not awful. It's just not ideal. And maybe that's an indicator of the kind of experience that they're going to have. Like, this isn't an end game part of your campaign. This isn't where the end of campaign boss lives. This is a waypoint where things are going to be slightly weird. You're going to learn something, and then you're going to move on. I think that's where a cocktail like this belongs. I think this is the cocktail that like signals to you that something is just slightly off, but not so off as to be like a red flag. This isn't something's terribly wrong with this universe. No, something is slightly different about this universe, and you're gonna be fine, but something is slightly off about this universe. So yeah, there you go. The Imploding Die. Thank you so much for joining me here in my bar today. I hope you had a good time. If you did, head on over to my website, indecisionist.com/Dungeon Barkeep. You can find out more about this project as well as many of the other things coming out from Indecisionist, along with TTRPG Pickup Con. So there's a lot to check out over there, and the link is in the doobly-doo down below. But until next time, friends, drink adventurously.